The director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before.
So recently, James Gunn finally dropped the new DC Studios DCU movie slate, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and there was a lot of interesting choices on there, from a Wallace show, Swamp Thing movie, Booster Gold show, Batman and Robin movie, a Superman movie we knew was coming, a Green Lantern show. One thing that wasn't dropped was the announcement of a Justice League movie, although he did say this isn't all of Chapter 1 of Gods and Monsters, there's still more to come. And Justice League is a big property amongst the DC universe. It's my favorite superhero team. It's one of my favorite cartoons of all time. We've seen different versions in live action, ranging from good to disappointing to phenomenal, depending on who you ask. I would like to see another shot at the Justice League in live action, since we only got one movie twice. We got the same movie twice in different ways. Hopefully, if the new DCU works out, we can get a really successful Justice League live action franchise. And in this video, I'm going to be giving my casting choices for who could potentially be the different members of the Justice League. Peter Safran and James Gunn have said they have left the door open for Gal Gadot, Jason Moore, Ezra Miller, and Zachary Levi to return in their respective superheroes. But I do think most of them will be getting recast. Most of these new versions of the Justice League will be already experienced or very early in their career. So very few origin stories for most of these characters. And with my lineup, I will also say there will be no Cyborg. Cyborg should be put in a Teen Titans movie. Not a big fan of Cyborg as like one of the big seven on the Justice League. Love the character, but I was never a big fan of him being one of the founding members of a Justice League team. So he will not be in this video. So the members in this video I will be casting are Batman, Aquaman, Zatanna, Green Lantern John Stewart, The Flash, Barry Allen, Classic Man, Martian Manhunter, and Wonder Woman. As you can tell, that's not every big member of the Justice League. I'll be getting to them in a separate video. So first, I'm going to be starting with the Caped Crusader, aka the Dark Knight, Batman. Now, it's been officially stated that Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves' version of the Batman will be in its own separate sort of universe thing going on under the Elseworlds film brand, which is fine. I would have been fine with them bringing it in, but they're going to keep it over there. That's fine. And I had to rethink certain things with picking this Batman casting, because this version of Batman seems to be going to be a little bit older, since he's going to have his son Damian, who is the fourth Robin, or technically the fifth Robin, and he is his younger son. And I had to think of someone a little bit older, but also I had to remember that Warner Brothers prefers big stars when they cast their Batman. If they're casting Superman, they usually go with more unknowns, but when it comes to Batman, they prefer to have big stars. And I didn't quite go with a huge star, but I definitely went with a known star. And this is someone that has been on a lot of people's lists. My pick to play Batman is Jensen Ackles. Jensen Ackles, he is 44, he is 6'1", he's a handsome guy, he's had decades of acting and leading man experience, he has decades of stunt work experience. He understands the assignment, okay? This guy has been on The Boys recently. He played Soldier Boy. He was on Smallville. He was in the show Supernatural, where he played Dean Westchester for like 80 years. And he is also currently the voice actor of Batman in the recent Tomorrowverse movies. And that plays a big thing, because James Gunn has stated that they're trying to keep the animated and live action consistent, where they're going to have voice actors try to be in the live action and try to have the live action people be in the animated project. And since this guy's already doing it, he's right there. You know, this guy is right there. And he's a solid actor. I do enjoy him a lot. And he's not a big movie star, but he is a draw with a dedicated fan base. That's once again how Supernatural has lasted for 80 years. And when he was on The Boys season 3, ratings went up. So I'm saying it could work. And James Gunn seems like the type of person who would not be against casting someone of Jensen Ackles' caliber for such a big role. Now, the Batman, of course, is, highly intelligent, highly trained fighter with detective skills, billions of dollars to fund his war on crime, and of course, various gadgets and vehicles and all that. This version of the DCU Batman will be more established and experienced, with most of the Bat family already existing. He'll be working with Damian Wayne, which again is like the 4th to 5th Robin. It's not ideal, but this does open the door for characters like Nightwing and Batgirl and even Red Hood to already exist. And this version of the Batman shouldn't be the one who is leading the charge to create the Justice League. Notoriously known for not trusting a bunch of superpowered people, being the one who wants to bring them together. It's a bit odd. He should be more the one working behind the scenes, and he has to be convinced that this team would work in the first place. But Jensen Ackles is my number one pick to play Batman. Next is the King of the Seven Seas, aka Aquaman. Now, Jason Moore, he's the last of the Snyderverse at this point. He could be Aquaman or Lobo, although they did say they do not want actors playing different roles in the same universe. So we don't know where all this Lobo rumors, if it's going to lead to anything or not. They're waiting to see if Aquaman 2 is going to be a hit or not, and they're going to let Jason Momoa decide if he wants to continue or if he wants to have the Lobo be his constellation prize. So they could be keeping Aquaman. At this point, it's going to be Jason Momoa. But I do have a backup pick, and I want to keep the Polynesian culture influence like they had with Jason Momoa playing the character, similar to what they did in Atlantis, The Lost Empire, or what they did with Namor and the Talokan in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, where the Latino culture influenced the depiction of the Atlanteans. I would prefer that the Polynesian culture influenced the depiction of the Atlanteans, a reverse of what they did in Zack Snyder's version. So my pick to play Aquaman is Beulah Kwale. Most may not be familiar with this actor. I first saw him in Shadow in the Cloud. He had a big role in that. He was in the movie Thank You for Your Service with Miles Teller. And he's also been on Hawaii Five-0 for a while now, playing Junior Reigns. He's a young actor. He's 30. He's a smaller guy. He's like 5'9", but he's fit, stocky build. He's a New Zealand actor with the Samoan heritage, and he's a solid actor. I really enjoyed him in Shadow in the Cloud, and he doesn't have much leading man experience, but he does have some acting experience. And you may think, like, why would they cast such an unknown actor for Aquaman? Well, there's no need to rush another Aquaman franchise, especially if they don't feel necessarily continuing a second movie with Momoa. Arthur Curry is the half-human, half-Atlantean king of the underwater kingdom Atlantis, and in this version, make Aquaman be more of like the gruff barbarian king and less of the wacky surfer dude bro version that we got, which I like Momoa in both versions of the Justice League and in the Aquaman movie, but just to make it a little different, have it where Aquaman has been the king for a while. Arthur is slowly readjusting to the surface world, and he's kind of have this sort of pompousness to a degree about him, have a little bit of disdain for his dad and the surface dwellers, but he can still be a bit boastful and arrogant, kind of like how Thor was early on in the MCU, but don't make him like super goof or anything. And maybe he can have the hook hand at some point, and it'll be another way to get a redo of Aquaman and Mira, although they could always recast Mira if they want to from Amber Heard, but this is another way to kind of deal with that as well. So Beulah Kwale would be my pick to play Aquaman. Next up is the Mistress of Magic, Zatanna Zatara, and my pick to play her is Anya Chalotra. And you may recognize her from the series Wanderlust on Netflix, and also from The Witcher on Netflix. She played Yennefer, and I really enjoyed her in that role as, you know, hot sorcerer, odd chick who's a bit of a bitch, but also kind of got a heart of gold thing going on. And that's a little bit different from Zatanna's character, but it could also be a fear of typecasting because she's known for playing a mystical character, have her play another mystical character, but I do think she would be very good for Zatanna. Anya is 26. She's Indian British background. She's a very good actress. She has the look for Zatanna. I really think she can pull it off. You know, acting experience, got stunt work experience. Zatanna Zatara is a famous stage magician, but also a superhero who's the daughter of the great magician Giovanni Zatara. She's trained by him, and she can do her magic by saying her spells backwards, and she's one of the most powerful magic users in the DC universe. Zatanna uses her magical skills to protect the world from the dark forces of evil. She usually investigates the disappearance of her father. She has history with Batman. She has history with characters like Swamp Thing, which was announced. It would be cool to have her as a member of the Justice League to represent magic, but you can also have her on the team, and this would lead her to spin off from the Justice League into Justice League Dark, where she would lead her own team. Zatanna would be a great character to have appear in a live-action movie, and I think Anya Chalotra would be perfect for the role. Next up is the Emerald Knight, aka Green Lantern, and they already announced that they're making a Lanterns HBO Max series starring Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, which is the best of both worlds. Jon Stewart being my favorite Green Lantern, and it's going to have a true detective vibe going on, and then working together on some weird mystery on Earth or whatever the fuck. And I feel like Jon and Hal should be around the same age, because if you have an older Jon, he's going to come off as the mystical, magical Negro trope. If you have an older Hal, he's going to come off as like the white white savior slash annoying mentor trope, and I don't want that for either character. One could have more experience than the other, but there shouldn't be like a big age gap. It's going to give kind of odd vibes, so keep them around the same age. And my pick to play Green Lantern John Stewart is Trevante Rhodes. Now, Trevante Rhodes, you may know from Moonlight. He was in Bird Box. He was also in the shitty The Predator movie, but he also recently played Mike Tyson in The Mike Show, which I did not watch, but I heard various things about. But this guy is, he's a very good actor. He has leading man experience, and this would be another role to elevate him to superstar status. And I really enjoy him. He's 32, 6 foot. He's got the look to play John Stewart. And John Stewart is a U.S. Marine. He's also sometimes an architect, and he's a social activist from Detroit, Michigan, turned intergalactic space cop. Due to his strong willpower, he possesses the brain that allows him to make energy constructs and fly and all this other cool stuff, which would be great to get a good basis of in the live-action DC universe. John is a stern but laid-back, righteous military man, unafraid to speak his mind, but knows the value of teamwork, working with the Green Lantern Corps, and have him trying to be the one to get the Justice League to work as a unit, despite the arrogance of others. Sort of like the headbutting sometimes that happened with Captain America and Tony in the movies. You can have that where John is kind of like the Captain America, where he's like, I got the military background, but I also know how to lead this team, and I got my ideas. Like, you don't know everything just because you're the world's greatest detective. You can have some of that vibe going in with the team, give it some dynamics. But John Stewart, it's going to be great to see him in live action, and I think Trevante Rhodes would be perfect for this character. Next on the list is the fastest man alive, aka Flash, aka Barry Allen. Now, we're going into this Flash movie that's allegedly coming out, starring Ezra Miller, the controversial Ezra Miller, and Warner Brothers, James Gunn, Peter Safran. The people who made the Flash movie claim that it's the best movie they've ever seen. Despite how good the movie is, Ezra Miller needs to go. They ass gots to get the fuck out of there. It's too controversial. I don't know how far they're going to be able to go with Ezra in the role. I don't think Ezra was the best casted person for this role. He felt less like Barry Allen and more like Impulse, aka Bart Allen. His movie will be used as the way to reboot everything and just be a new person playing the role. And my ideal person to play Barry Allen is Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid was recently in the Scream 5 movie. He was in the Hunger Games movie. He also plays Huey on The Boys. That's about the main thing he's mostly known for. He's a young actor. He's 30 years old, 6'1". He's charming, he's nerdy, but he also has that everyman quality, and he's very comedic. But he can also be a little sinister like he did in his Scream role, but he doesn't have a cult. That's the biggest thing. He's an actor who, as far as we know, doesn't have a cult, hasn't been accused of grooming, so I think, hey, that's a plus right there. Barry Allen, is the Flash. His mom was mysteriously killed. He becomes a police officer to try to clear his dad's name. And during a lab accident involving chemicals and a lightning bolt, it calls him to gain superpowers. He taps through Speed Force, and he's super fast. Barry should be like the comic relief of this team and a constant positive force to keep the team together. And he shouldn't be like an annoying goofball vibes. He can be funny, but don't make him overly wacky and weird. But he can't be overly bust a gut super funny. Because most of the things people like about Barry is actually from Wally West. Barry is a lot more of a reserved character, and I would prefer that if they're going to do Barry, do actual Barry, not the CW, let's steal from Wally and give it to Barry vibes. But I like the Barry Allen character, but if they want to recast Barry, I think Jack Quaid will be able to pull it off. Next up is the Elastic Avenger, aka Plastic Man, and my pick to play Plastic Man is Bill Hader. Yes, Bill Hader, the comedian known from Saturday Night Live. He was also in the movie Skeleton Twins, Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, which he was very good in that. And of course, the show, the HBO series Barry, which is really good. And it shows how he can be a very dramatic actor. Bill Hader is 6'1", he's 44 years old, super funny character actor, writer, producer, director, and he can do various voices. He has the comedic chops to make this character very funny, but he also has, like I said, the acting chops to make it a big track. Former thief Patrick E.L. O'Brien accidentally fell into a vat of acid, which he survived somehow and gave him the ability to make his body all elastic. It also messed up his mind and made him a bit loco. Plastic Man eventually becomes a superhero, and he's usually a source of relief for any comic or superhero team that he's a part of, and he's a bit of a wild card on any team that he's on. He's actually like a golden age hero, and he's actually like an old man in a non-aging body. It's a bit tragic, and you could make that kind of mess with his mind a little bit, and maybe he uses 50 Japanese slangs and fashion style as a way to make him unique or something. I could see Bill Hader getting into that. I can also see James Gunn might want to do something with this character, so I wouldn't mind seeing Plastic Man on the team, and I think Bill Hader is one of the best actors out there that could bring him to life. Next up is the Manhunter from Mars, aka the Martian Manhunter, aka John Jones. And my pick to play John is Lance Reddick. Now, Lance Reddick has been my pick to play the Martian Manhunter for years now, and I'm starting to see a lot more people choosing him as their pick for Martian Manhunter, and he really fits. You may know Lance Reddick from Fringe. He was on The Wire. He was also in the John Wick movies. Also has an extensive background in voice acting and motion capture acting, most notably being in the Horizon Zero Dawn video game. He's 59, older guy. He's 6'2", with a lean build, very distinct features, deep voice, but he's a great actor. He usually plays stern and serious, but he can also be very funny. John Jones is Green Martian. He's one of the last survivors of his species on Mars, comes to Earth, usually accidentally brought, or he's trying to prevent something from happening. Usually it's the white Martians or some evil attacking Earth, but he's the elder statesman of the League, having lived centuries fighting against evil. Martian Manhunter has similar powers to Superman, but he also is telepathic, he can shapeshift, he can go through walls, and he also has this severe weakness to fire, which is most people's weakness, but for him it's very severe. John usually operates as a detective, but he's also been a secret agent, an explorer, government person, whatever, but he's also one of the founding members of the Justice League, and I would like for him to be one of the founding members of the team. John needs to be an active hero who's been working behind the scenes for a while, and not someone who's been sitting on his ass posing as a politician or an astronaut. Or you could do it like in a cartoon where he's been on Earth for a while, but he also has been like captured for a minute and he needs to be saved. He could be good. He can fit the character in various different ways. So Lance Reddick is my pick for the Martian Manhunter. And last on this lineup is Wonder Woman, the warrior princess of the Themyscira. Now, this is going to be a tough one because Gal Gadot is one of those ones who could be still in or she could be out. We know that Wonder Woman 3 was canceled with Patty Jenkins, maybe due to it being super expensive, them not liking the script, whatever. But they also announced that they're doing a Paradise Lost HBO Max series, which is going to be a Wonder Woman prequel, which to me leads me to believe they're setting the groundwork for a new Wonder Woman. But Gal Gadot could be sticking around. And Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she's not a great actress, but she looks great in the role, and with the right people behind her, she can be very good in the role. But she is going to be the toughest one to recast, whoever they get. And she was tough for me to cast. And initially, I was just going to go with an unknown. I was going to bitch out and just say, you know what, unknown. I don't know who they're going to get. There was one person who kept popping up who initially wasn't ideal, but she will work. And depending on what direction they're going to go with Wonder Woman, I think she will be good. So my pick for Wonder Woman is Mackenzie Davis.
He just said what I think he said.
Now hear me out. You may know Mackenzie Davis from the show *Halt and Catch Fire*. She was in the movie *Tully* with Charlize Theron. She was in *Blade Runner 4092*, a Warner Brothers movie. She was in *Station 11*, a HBO Max series. And you may mainly know her from *Terminator: Dark Fate*, which I didn't think was a bad movie, but there's a lot of controversy behind that. But she's a Canadian actress. She's 35. She's 5'10". She's tall and lean and athletic build, very much similar to what you would tend to think an Amazon would look like. Now she's a very good actress, and she's willing to do the stunt work, probably most likely not afraid to bulk up. She got in shape for that Dark Fate movie. She was badass in the action sequences, and seeing her as Wonder Woman would be pretty dope. There's not a lot of actresses that can fit the more fuller, ripped Wonder Woman, but Gal Gadot was also very tall and lean, and I didn't think it would work, but once I saw her in the costume, it really worked. And I think Mackenzie Davis would have the same effect. Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, is an ambassador and protector of the world. She is the most popular female superhero of all time. She's a demigod, super strength, speed, and flight sometimes, durability, magic lasso, all this cool stuff. Highly skilled fighter and strategist. And Wonder Woman, usually with her character, you have to find a balance between her being a warrior and a teacher. Early versions was definitely leaning more towards the warrior version, which I'm not against. And I would prefer to see something closer to that, but still have the kind-hearted aspect of Wonder Woman as well. I would prefer if she's a founding member of the JSA during World War II, and her being essentially somewhat immortal. She doesn't age that fast. She's been active since then, but mostly been low-key until current times. Kind of what they were trying to do, but didn't execute that well. Keep that, but have her keep the old school, World War II origin. And I think that would be the best way to handle Wonder Woman. We'll see what James Gunn and Safford and his team would want to do with Wonder Woman, but that is my initial lineup for the Justice League for now. Now, that's not all the members of the Justice League, as you can tell. There's a lot of heavy hitters I didn't touch upon, like Superman, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl. That'll be in part 2. But if you want part 2, I'm going to need something from you, the viewer. I'm going to need at least 20 likes. At least 20 likes before part 2 drops. Can you do that? Let me know. I want to see the interaction. I need 20 likes. So if you want a part 2, give me 20 likes. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more.